Okay, it's 6:30. Let's call this meeting to order. Welcome, everybody. Will you please stand for the pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Additions to the agenda. We have a COVID report to add, an executive session to discuss the appointment, employment, or evaluation of public officer, and a cemetery issue. Is there anything else we need to add?
I don't have anything else.
Okay. Is there a motion to add those?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Cemetery new business or?
Yeah, cemetery be under new business. And COVID report will be after the fire department, and the executive session will be after number 3, under new business, cemetery. Okay, open public comment for items not on the agenda. Do we have any from?
I just want to make sure I'm here at the right meeting with conservation. Thank you.
You are, thank you. Thank you. Okay, election of vice chair. We'll open the floor for nominations.
I'll nominate Thomas Marino for the vice chair position.
Second.
Are there any other nominations? All those in favor signify by saying aye. We will not ask him if he wants it. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Wow, that was like, that came in from nowhere.
I already have a position, so I'm out of it.
Wow. Thank you all very much.
Thank you,
for the
Tom,
confidence. I'm honored.
for your willingness.
He's not elected, can he fill it?
Hmm?
He's not elected, can he fill it? Just
Yes, he
make sure we
can.
do.
Yeah, he can until March.
Okay. I'll make sure.
Okay, Alex is not here.
He's on Zoom.
Oh, he's on Zoom. Hi, Alex.
Oh, please.
Can you hear us? All right.
I think he's muted, right?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Can hear you now. You're on.
Alright. So I guess you guys are kind of looking for a general update to start things out. Is that where we're at? And then the fire pond down to Dunklee's.
Yes, sir.
As far as just a general update, we've continued to be busy with trainings. We've been training a lot lately with Guilford and with Brattleboro, as well as doing our own in-house trainings. So it's been really good to see the collaboration with the surrounding towns. Brattleboro has done an outstanding job getting all the surrounding departments together, working with them. Guilford continues to do a really good job just helping us along, and we're extremely grateful for all that they've done. We've been fairly busy with calls. We've been running a lot of medical calls. So that's all been good. As far as membership goes, we're still a little down on membership. We'd like to get some more folks on board, especially on the firefighter role, and not quite sure what the long-term solution is for that, but we're starting to put together some recruitment efforts, and hopefully get some young folks interested. And we'll just keep plugging forward with it.
Great. Okay, you want to update us on the fire pond dry hydrant issue?
So we've been working with Troy Dare, I believe his last name is, with Rural Fire Protection Program, and he came down earlier in the summer and looked at the fire pond site down at the Dunklee farm, and that's been an ongoing issue for for quite a few years now. It'll get dredged out, but then it gets silted back in, and we're just looking for a long-term fix. It was suggested during the meeting down there that possibly we relocate that drafting site to down behind where the old brick building is, behind Sam Kendall's old house. So Troy drafted together a proposal what that might look like, and put together some rough estimates as to what the cost might be associated with that. So there's nothing finalized there, but they do offer it's a grant program, and they pay 75%, and then the town would be responsible for the remaining 25%, and that could be through a cash program, or that 25% could be made up of donations in labor and materials, and so on and so forth. So we're just looking at. I think you guys all got a copy of the agreement. I have looked at it. I haven't wrapped my head around it with everything else going on, but they did draft together an agreement what that would look like. So I guess once we're all in agreement that that's a good direction to head, then we can send that back up to them and send that in a way to see if they'll give us approval for it.
So what do you need from us?
I don't really know. I guess I gotta make sure that the town's on board, and that I'm not signing into anything that anybody would be have some issues with. So Wendy suggested that we bring that forward to you guys and have you look at it. So.
Okay, Wendy?
Yes, thank you. And we are suggesting that the select board approve the agreement with the district, and that would be a commitment of $1,237. That's the 25% match. And it's based on the total estimate that Troy provided. And the agreement is actually the couple of pages that you have, plus all of the attachments that detail exactly what's going to be done. So if the town is in agreement, what Troy does is go to his boss and get her approval. Then he comes back to us to make sure we're still good, and then he works out, he starts the permitting process. And the permit fee would be able to be included in the grant also, so that we would just pay 25% of it. And as the chief said, our costs, like for example, just our costs, Chief, you and me talking to Troy and figuring this out, those are reimbursable, and those count toward it. If the highway folks are able to help with the excavating, those labor costs will go toward it. Cindy's time can go towards it, and she did handle one of these grants previously a few years ago, so she's familiar with the paperwork. So it would be helpful if you do vote to approve this agreement tonight.
Okay, can I ask Jeff a question? The road to it, does that need to be maintained then? And would you be responsible, or would the town maintain the road to that?
We usually maintain it
Anyway,
as a matter of course anyways,
okay,
during snowstorms,
okay,
going and after, so there shouldn't be an issue as far as access during the winter time.
and you're okay with it?
Yeah, I mean, I was there to visit when Mr. Troy Dare stopped down, and he looked at the existing site, the pond, and essentially to keep it where it's always been be more costly than moving it to this alternative site. So I'm fully on board. I think this is the right decision to make, is to approve the dry hydrant and relocating water access.
Okay. Michael, do you have questions? Jane?
All set.
It's important we have it down. It's one of the biggest buildings in town, and that's
Right.
there.
So-
Apartment houses, you know,
Yeah.
within a mile, quite a few people live within them.
Sarah's
Yep.
house, Vernon Manor, and your apartments, yeah.
I'd entertain a motion to approve and sign the grant.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
Just a quick question. And I don't wanna put anybody on the spot, but on the in-kind services, does the treasurer have a standard rate that we charge? For, let's say the DPW works, is it hourly rate plus benefits that you're able to put up against that?
That's what you did previously.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah,
good.
but it's tailored to each person.
Right, okay, thank you.
Any questions from the audience?
I guess my other question to that would be, would the fire department budget be responsible for paying for those hours that come out of the highway department's usage? Would there, I guess, I mean, I guess it doesn't make a difference to me, but just, I guess it'd be easier if we knew up front if that was the case.
Well, they're technically a nonprofit, right? So they're not technically a town department, even though they get funded?
No, the fire department is a
They are
town
town.
department.
Okay,
Yeah, that's a really good question. I
That
don't
is
know
a
the
good
answers to
question.
that.
Wendy will find out.
Yeah,
I think you can reimburse it right back to the DPW.
Do you want us to
I would think so,
hold
but I
off
don't know.
on,
From where, right? Because it's
action?
not in the grant, right?
right,
Right, well, the fire department would be, hopefully the whole project wouldn't cost more than what's projected. And so the potential payment is the $1,237 by the fire department. So some of that might be labor costs. And it would be fair to charge the fire department for highway labor.
Right.
If highway labor was some of that. But I don't know if Cindy typically does that, but I can find out.
would you like us to hold off action on this until we find that out, or should we take action now? What is your pleasure?
I'd take action now. The internal bookkeeping really doesn't matter from the support from the select board.
Okay, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Okay, opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Alex.
No problem. Do you guys have any other questions for me or about the department or anything?
I do, but I think I'll email them to you,
Okay,
okay?
all right, sounds good.
Thanks.
Thanks for being here. I know you have training tonight.
Have fun.
All right, thanks a bunch.
Okay. Mark Snow. Mark Snow.
Who I do not see on Zoom.
Okay. We will hold off on Mark. Approval of minutes. Regular meeting, August 3rd.
So move they be accepted as printed.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, I'm sorry.
Aye, okay. Motion carries. Treasurer's report.
Okay. I move that we approve payment of the following warrant. 4T accounts payable, $88,442.51. 31S payroll, $12,352.35. And 32S payroll, $10,713.96.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Jean?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous. Town admin report.
Okay, couple of things. We did receive the first deposit of the ARPA funds. Last Thursday, it was $114,947.15. And that's 50% of the municipal amount. We did find out that the additional amount that we thought would be significantly more won't be as much significantly more. They don't know how much it's going to be yet, but because it's population based, this was the amount that was going to go to the counties, that's not going to go to the towns. But because Burlington and South Burlington are going to be included in the total, it'll be divided among a larger population, so we'll get less.
Yes, yeah.
So we don't know yet. But again, I recommend a slow, deliberative process. You don't need to decide where to spend the money until the end of the year of 2024, and you have until 2026, end of year, to actually cut the checks. So there's no hurry, and the federal government is still updating the rules. The rules are preliminary at this point, so the rules may expand, so there may be other things that you can spend the money on going forward.
Thank you.
And the next 115,000 will be in 2022. The mini splits were installed, so yay. People are much more comfortable upstairs. And the phone system is coming along. You've seen some emails on that. I'm not sure. It should be installed in another few weeks. It'll be completed.
Excellent.
I would like to get approval from the board to waive the bidding requirements for the building repair and maintenance for the $1,000 to move the storage materials from the clerk's office. From the treasurer's office. There's a local mover, Butch Capel, and he's the one I got the quote from. You did already approve the amount and the account that it would be taken from, and I talked to Cindy and she said you also need to approve a waiver of bidding if we do want to use the local person. He comes highly recommended. He actually he moves the Marlboro Music Festival.
Okay.
So that's why he can't do ours until August 30th. But he's respected and local.
Okay, so entertain a motion to waive the bid requirement for this.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously.
And then I'd like to show you a map, the map that I sent earlier. So we're gonna see if this works, and if it doesn't work right away, I'll give up. Just because I don't want to take too much time. But there's a map that was provided by BDCC actually, of relative property values, and these are values of property within categories. The red category is the highest. That's from 700,000 to 1.5 million. And these figures are dollars per acre. So they're not the value of the parcel, but it's the parcel per acre. The next one down is the orange. It's 300,000 to 700,000. The next one is hard to see. It's yellow. It's 200,000 to 300,000. And then the green is 100 to 200,000. And then below 100,000 is the blue. So you can see most of it's blue. One surprise is that Yankee is not, okay, let me zoom out. Hold on. Yankee is not in the highest. Yankee's in the second highest. Here's the Yankee property, or I should say North Star at this point, is in the second highest category. Turns out what's in the highest category are very small parcels. For example, this one that I'm pointing to is a single family home. But because the value is on such a small area, the resulting dollar per acre is very high. So the reason I am showing you this is because when you think about redevelopment, particularly of the Yankee parcel, there's an assumption that industrial is the highest use in terms of dollars. But if I can get tax dollars, obviously you want to replace the tax income that you had. But Renault, and I hope they don't mind me singling them out if I can find them again, is in the green. Wait, they might even be in the blue category. Let me see what this parcel is. No, that's not Renault. Renault is in either the blue category or the green category. And it's because it's such a large parcel. So even though it does have a high value, when you look at value per acre, it's not necessarily what you expect. So that's the takeaway. I don't want to take more of your time, but I'm happy to share this map with anyone, I can put it on the website. I'm just gonna close it off now so we can.
Wendy, I got a question.
Sure.
So, so the values are appraisal values, or where do they?
The source of this data is the town's data. It's the grand list,
Yep.
parcel value, and the grand list, size, acreage.
Okay.
And all it does is, it does very simple math, dividing one by the other.
Tom?
It's a good map for what it shows, and I had some chance to play with it over the weekend as I
Great.
last night, as I said I would. The thing that is a second look on it is it takes the property for what it is. So if there's one house on 10 acres, it takes the value of that and it extrapolates it out over the 10 acres, which brings the value of that acreage perhaps down. It doesn't show highest and best use that you might be. It doesn't show a subdivided lot or anything like that. So it's a good, it's good for what it shows, and I think it's a helpful document, but I wouldn't take it as a Bible document as to what is possible. That's all.
Oh, I completely
Yeah.
agree. And there's all sorts of data that you could show.
Yeah.
I mean, this is only one view, one lens. There
Yeah.
are, I mean, and BDCC, I'll speak for you, is happy to run all sorts of
Yeah.
scenarios.
You can put all kinds of layers on that.
Yeah.
And it'd be fun to play with. So.
Yeah, yeah. I just wanted to point out that that industrial isn't automatically the highest, and that's with a 78 million value of Yankee too. So that's not a low value.
Yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's fun to play with if you get a chance to go and play with it.
Yeah. So just and feel free to ask BDCC for others. So thank you for your patience on that. And then this is probably my last meeting, so I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity. It's been fun, and I appreciate the community and learned a lot. I feel like I'm leaving you in good hands, and it's just thank you, appreciate it,
We thank you
Well, thank
very
you.
much.
Yeah.
my pleasure.
You've been great. Thank you. Okay, SeVEDS funding process request.
Hi.
Hi.
Should I be in a specific location or should I just stay here? What's the preference?
Oh, you want him over here, please?
Great. Cameraman wants it.
But it's a new format for
Yeah.
everybody.
Okay.
We're getting used to it.
Great. It's great to see everyone.
Mostly.
I mean that. It's been really nice to actually start to interact with people and see people face to face. It's too bad we're back to masks, but I'm thankful to be here. I want to start by thanking you and thanking the town for support this year, which is a great thing because I've been coming here for 6 years and presenting on the work that we do. And this past town meeting was the first time in, about 4 years that I've had the opportunity to actually speak and talk about the work that we do. So thank you, and thank you for the town for that. So the topic of discussion tonight, I'll spend just a few minutes and at a high level go over, as a reminder, some of the programs that we focus on and some of the highlights. But I think that the topic is on our annual funding request to the town and the process by which we go about doing that. But also, let me start by just touching on some of the programs. As a lot of you know, we have a broad scope, and we saw some of that. I actually didn't play a hand in that at all, and didn't even know that was going to come up tonight. So some other folks in our group worked on that. My area of focus is on business assistance, technical assistance, helping businesses that are anywhere from early stage businesses to what we call growth stage businesses. And this year, due to the work that we've done relative to pandemic response, saw such a need for that, we've expanded the team. So there's like 2.5 of us that kind of focus now on business services. during the pandemic, you might remember we stood up a series of webinars that we called the Business Resiliency Program. Probably did 20 to 30 webinars, just trying to help people access the information that they needed to access the different mitigation resources. And we have programs in schools, Pipelines and Pathways program, that helps introduce kids to the skills that they need to have meaningful careers. We do workforce and training and development, recruitment and retention. We've had a LinkedIn recruiter seat, so businesses who can't afford to do that kind of promotion for the businesses to attract talent, we can help them access a tool such as LinkedIn to promote their open jobs. Of course, the Southern Vermont Young Professionals to help young professionals have a social life beyond their work, because if they don't have a social life beyond their work, they probably won't stay. If they don't have work, they probably won't stay either. So it's important to have both those components. The Community Facilities Technical Assistance Program, that's a USDA funded program. I used to wear that hat, and I take this as a win. I introduced the program to Vernon Green, which they access the Community Facilities Program for funding for their project there. We provide technical assistance, so that, we would do things like introduce people to that program or provide them with a little bit of funding to help further their project. The Southern Vermont Economy Project, that's led by Sarah Lang, who I'm sure a lot of you know, and she's done, these numbers are just amazing. 100 trainings, over 2,000 participants. It's a regional program with 43 online webinars so far. And then Welcoming Communities, that's one of our newest programs where we're working on bringing people from outside the region here, because one of our biggest challenges, if you talk to our employers, is that they cannot find people to put into jobs. So, we're really trying to be creative and find ways to attract people to the region. So the funding request, something I wanted to point out, we've over the years become more sophisticated in how we track our time. And, in the past we've petitioned, and so, towns, understandably so, ask us to do that in order to become a warned article or an article on the warning. And, for Vernon, that equates to about 23 hours of time. Of course, you probably understand my position, which is that we'd much rather be working on impact to further the work that we do than stand outside in the cold and petition. A model that I think makes a lot of sense is what we see how an organization such as the Wyndham Regional Commission is included within the general budget. So perhaps that may be a consideration. We're always happy to still come to town meeting and talk about the work that we do. But maybe there's a better, more effective way to manage the funding request relative to the work that we do. In the past, we've been sort of grouped with human service organizations. I appreciate that last year we were a separate article so that we could speak to that. So, to me, the most effective way would be to be included within the general budget. So I don't know if that's a potential consideration. I'm open to ideas. Maybe it's petitioning in some sort of interval that makes sense, that you're comfortable with. So that's the main topic, I think, of the request this evening.
Tom?
I'm thinking that's probably a good idea, and it's about $6,000 roughly.
Yeah, that's correct.
But the alternative would be the select board could, if they wanted to, put it on a kind of as a mid-ground, as a select board sponsored article, as opposed to getting petitions.
Jane?
Yeah, I've always felt that the time that nonprofit agencies have to put into getting those petitions signed has not been a good use of their limited time and funding. That just approaching us with a request and having information about what you do should be adequate to either have an article or, as you're suggesting, putting it into the budget directly.
Yep.
So I'm never been a fan of the petitioning. It's a lot of work it's just a lot of work that they don't have money to support. Yeah.
Jeff?
First of all, I wouldn't support adding SeVEDS to the general budget. I think it's important that voters, residents of town, are able to have a say in situations like this. I do support doing the same thing that we did this past fiscal year, not requiring signatures from SeVEDS and having a separate article, whether it's sponsored by the Selectboard or
Yeah.
whatever. But I agree in doing the same thing as we did last year with SeVEDS.
Michael?
On the same page, like, let the people decide.
Can I have a motion?
I move that we waive the petition requirements for SeVEDS and include SeVEDS request as an article in the morning.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? Anybody from the audience wish to discuss? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I
I abstain, Madam
Yeah.
Chair.
Thank you. Tom's abstaining for perceived conflict of interest. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you for your
Appreciate it.
work.
Thank you for your
Thank you for your
time.
time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Listers, errors, and omissions. For those in the audience, ID 290100 Great River Hydro. When the 2020 assessment for Great River Hydro was given to us, it included personal property. We were not aware of that, and the company was also billed for personal property under the ID 000120PP. Therefore, the 2020 assessment should be reduced by $19,871 because that amount was already billed as personal property. The tax amount to be refunded or applied to the current tax bill is $411.31. My apologies for this oversight. Carol Hammond, Vernon, Lister's office. Is there a motion on the floor?
The listers are appointed or elected?
They're elected, and in the statute, there is a statute that allows for errors and omissions.
Right.
And then we just have to approve it.
Select board has to, and, okay.
And it's not unusual.
No,
No,
it's
not
not
at all,
unusual.
no, I just,
Doesn't, she seldom does it.
I would move that the property assessment for Great Rivers be reduced by $19,871, which reflects personal property tax that was already billed, and to further reduce the current or refund refund or apply to the current tax bill the amount of $411.31.
Is there a second?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Motion carries. I do that. Okay, next is the establishment of a conservation committee. Would you like to come forward?
I'm Norma Manning, this is Carrie, I don't know if I see your last name.
Assiter?
After, this is the first time we've actually met, but she stepped forward as someone who would like to participate. So the state of Vermont, has very, they've set parameters as to what the responsibilities and function and how to set up conservation commissions. So, I'm just here to ask if the town would want to reestablish or established for the first time, I'm unclear which it would be, Conservation Commission in town, which would be strictly an advisory commission. Any questions?
What do you think? I will tell you that we used to have a committee, conservation committee, and then we had, people got old and there was nobody to cover. I think it's exciting that we have people interested. What is the pleasure of the board?
I would move that we establish a conservation committee.
Is there a second?
Second.
Is there discussion?
No.
Wendy?
I'm sorry to interrupt, but so it's a committee that you're going to establish, not a commission? I don't know, I mean, there probably is a distinction
You
between
said
the two,
committee.
but
I said committee.
intentionally you're saying committee. Just wanna,
Okay, so my thought was commission, because that's under the guidelines
State
of the
statute.
state.
Okay.
And then we would have sort of an idea of, what our tasks and responsibilities would encompass.
What's the difference between a commission and a committee?
I don't know.
and,
There is a difference.
There is.
Other than we
Big
would be
difference,
just
I'm sure.
strictly advisory. For example, we could attend a yearly meeting of the planning commission and let them know, how what they're doing aligns with the culture of the town and what the people of the town would like to see. And point out where our environmental assets are, corridors are. I was just looking today and discovered that there is a new law in Vermont called the Forest Fragmentation Act. And I'm unsure if anyone is really aware of this. And so that was something like that would be, our commission could look into that and see how that would impact Vernon or not.
Imagine a commission has a budget, and you wouldn't have a budget till you had a new fiscal year to vote it in, so I think it
Right.
would have to be a
And-
committee until then.
Yes, well, the guideline does say that, it has to be voted on at a town meeting.
So you could be a committee until then and change that. And as a committee, you could adopt what you want to take from the commission, the guidelines,
Okay.
which would,
Sometimes, where I have worked before, conservation commissions have a considerable amount of autonomy and authority over wetlands and wetlands protections and logging and I think it's all good. This isn't a criticism. I would like, I'll have to do some of my own research. If we set up a committee, it'll give me time, but I'd also like a presentation perhaps by, is there a Vermont Association of Conservation Commissions that may do a Zoom with us and give us kind of a broader outline of the roles, responsibilities, and authorities of commissions, although they're advisory. They, in a major development, I bet their opinion would hold a lot of sway, and it should. But it would be nice between setting up the committee and then between now maybe in town meeting, we could have the association could perhaps give us some additional background information.
And I could give you a link to.
That'd be great.
To a webinar I was just watching on how to form and set up a conservation commission, in which they actually show a map that shows that Vernon is the only town within Wyndham County that does not have one yet.
I'm not, I don't want them to come off as opposed, I'm not, I just would like to
Fine, I
learn,
understand, but
learn some more.
my understanding is that the role would be advisory, not making rules or determinations, but we could help carry out things, but not be the one who determines, not an entity that determines, the end result of any
Right.
Proposals that would fall under.
it's rather
Planning
exciting to read what they can do.
Yeah.
Because it's right up Norma's alley.
Well, I was gonna make a comment that I very much appreciate I read your comments often, both on, you know, online and whatnot, and the efforts and the caring that you put into this community, relative to its fields and the pond and all the other things is very, very much appreciated.
And all of that kind of goes away if we start a commission, because I would not be able to speak.
I'm not sure.
I mean, I would still carry out my blog, but
Yeah,
I you know, my personal opinion would not play into
Right.
into those things.
Falls under Title 24, Chapter 118.
I know that our former committee, they marked out the woodlots that they would sell. You
mhm,
know, we used to sell, you could harvest wood, if you burned wood, you paid $50 to the town if you were chosen to harvest them, and they'd mark them out. They pretty much concentrated into the town forest, so it's nice that this will cover the whole town.
Yeah.
So we have a motion to establish a committee. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Michael,
I think we should read this first.
you wanna read it
before we-
first? Okay, okay, do you wanna put it on for next week, or next meeting?
I would. I say we need to read the laws of it.
Okay, so
It's
maybe,
pretty
do
long.
It is.
you mind if we delay action for 2 weeks?
That would be great.
Okay,
Could we also, see if we could set up, a session?
yeah. That'd be nice. Okay, did someone wanna withdraw their second?
I think it was Michael's, I'm not sure.
Yes.
And you wanna withdraw your motion?
I will withdraw my motion.
Okay, so we're gonna put it on the next one. Thank you, Norma, very much, okay.
Yeah,
So
there's like a
somebody will-
minimum and maximum amount of members and stuff. There's certain terms that they
Right.
have to have, so we need to have all that prepared before we vote on it.
But that would be for the commission, and that would have to go to town meeting.
It says the commission may be created anytime when a municipality votes to create one or if the charter of the municipality permits it. So it just says when the legislative body of the municipality votes to
Every
create
town
one.
So-
meeting.
The legislative body is us.
Yes. So,
You'd be- Okay.
Are you scared? You should be.
Okay.
that's what I need to read and study.
Surprise.
Too late, Tom. Thank you. Does anybody have any objections to moving the cemetery issue ahead of consideration of town administrative agreement, which will require an executive session?
No, no problem with that.
Okay. Mary Lynn, our problem child, would you like to come forward?
Michael, you're gonna send us that link?
Yeah, I'm gonna do it right now.
Oh, thank you.
I have to move over there.
Yeah.
Oh,
You want us-
it's right there.
So, it has come to my attention, that there is partying going on at late night hours up at the North Cemetery. And, I don't think it's the family of the deceased, I think it's friends of the deceased. So, the person that, one of the people that told me about this has seen it. And so I checked with, I'm not out at that time of night anymore because we do all our court stuff on a computer now, so I'm not driving by. So I checked with a couple other people that I know might be coming home from work about this time, that time of day, or maybe out for other reasons, for work reasons. And they have seen car lights, they drive into the cemetery. And I had seen grass down, but I thought of late, I thought maybe it was the caretakers had driven in for whatever reason. They don't usually, but I thought maybe there was some reason they did. So apparently it's not. So I would like to call, or you call, I don't know who it should be, call both the state police and the sheriff's department and notify them and say if a town resident calls and reports that this is going on, would you please respond? if that is okay with y'all.
Definitely ask, I don't know if they will, if there's any.
I'm not sure that they're gonna respond either, but at least they have to log
We
in.
could talk to them for ideas of what we can do though.
And if something happens, I mean, no, you're not supposed to drive in there anyway to start with, but that's neither here nor there, but if they're in there partying,
Yeah, there's
and
burnout
something
marks
happens.
everywhere over there.
Okay.
How long have they been doing
Probably since all the burn marks
Yeah.
up there.
Since the funeral.
it? So a couple
We
weeks?
can start the funeral, unfortunately.
Could we have Wendy?
Sure. I'll send an email to both of them and call them.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Can you CC me on the
Yeah,
emails?
definitely. And I'll talk to you before I send them, just
Okay.
because I'd like to send them as much information as we have.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
So. Right. Thank you.
Okay, consideration of town administrator agreement. We need executive session?
I move that we enter into executive session for the appointment or employment or evaluation of a public officer or employee, 1 VSA 3133A3, including our interim town administrator.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. It is unanimous. Thank you very much. Okay, we went into executive session at 7:19. We came out at 7:27. No action was taken. Entertainment.
I move that we hire Shelley Walker as our next town administrator.
Second.
At the annual rate,
It'd be,
or per the contract.
per the contract.
Second.
Okay, is there any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 That is carried, and we need to stop in and sign the contract,
Right.
okay? Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yes. We'll be very happy to see her on board. She will start August 30th. Okay, appointment of health officer.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
the term of the health officer has, or will be expiring at the end of this month, and Mark Snow is willing to continue.
Good.
wonderful. I'll entertain a motion to reappoint Mark Snow as a town health officer.
Move to reappoint Mark Snow as town health officer.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. And now we need to appoint a deputy health officer.
Yes, and Madam Chair, you had two, Heather Frost and Annette Royden. Heather Frost resigned, you may have seen that email, and Annette Royden is willing to continue even though she has moved out of the town. My understanding is she can still be the deputy health officer.
Right. And she covers the summer months, so we may need to look for someone else for the winter months. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to appoint Annette Royden as deputy health officer.
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries unanimously. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, September 7th at 6:30. And that is all I have. But Jean?
So we didn't have any COVID report.
No.
Oh, right, and that's when you were gonna do the COVID
Right.
procedures. I'm sorry, I forgot. Let's,
Well,
I
I
think you should
didn't
do
know
that
if he was
now.
gonna come in, but he didn't
Right.
ever come in to the meeting.
No.
no, I can tell you what I know,
Yes,
which,
please.
isn't as much as he would know. I did take a look at the state, the health department website. And obviously, COVID has increased, and what the governor has authorized is for businesses and, organizations to either require or not require masks. It's not a mandate by the state, but an organization can do it. And the staff, not all of the staff, but the staff at town hall, prefers masks. And we informally, went back to masks this past week. The library has had a mask requirement all along. It never lifted it. So, the recommendation, and the clerk feels strongly, and the treasurer, that we should have masks. The listers, have a different opinion.
Is this
So you know.
only, is this only when you're meeting with other people? If you're sitting within your own office, you can be unmasked, correct?
We haven't gotten that specific, but that sounds reasonable. The wording in front of you is the wording that the clerk drafted, and, that has been posted on the door, on the front door.
Now, it says here that there were 300 cases over the weekend. And I know Brattleboro is requiring masks when you're in the building.
Well, I think all medical facilities have, they never drop.
Right, the medical, but this is Brattleboro Town.
Yeah.
Oh, Brattleboro Town, oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, but,
Yeah.
right, all the medical facilities
Right,
do.
right.
We're masking up if we're meeting with someone else in the office, but if we're within our own workspace,
Mm-hmm.
and you're, sometimes in the clerk's office, there's more than one person. So that would probably be requiring masks if you can't social distance, but in your own workspace, if you choose not to wear one, as long as you're not meeting with anyone.
Yeah, I think that's what you do in the library, right?
Yeah.
Right.
That's what we have done, yes.
Yeah,
Or if you're eating,
yeah.
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 Yeah, I mean, I think it should really get defined for the building. Also, defining the building use. Nobody has, I mean, we've met here, but other groups, yes, no, is that gonna be allowed at all or not allowed, or?
I would say whatever rules you decide would be for anyone who uses this building. I mean, they're building rules essentially.
So what I'm saying too is like groups that have traditionally like used the downstairs here, what are we gonna say about them? Are
Like the
they,
seniors.
yeah, then I may have some library issues also, so, are they gonna be allowed in or not, or what are we?
Are we going to track them so that if something does happen, are we going to be able to track them? I think that's something we need to, I think we need to make allowances for, we need to track who's coming in case someone does. So if someone is using the building, who's gonna be doing their tracking?
We can make that a requirement of the use of the building, that they track who.
Yeah, you do a sign in, you sign in
And they
with your
turn the
name and
paper
phone
into
number.
two.
Yeah,
And, you know, the masking and social distancing would be required
Right,
for any of those gatherings. Nobody else may want to use the space, but as we leave the summer months, things may, you know, change on that front. So,
anything else we should add, delete, tweak? So do you have a list there that we can give?
well, I just
We
have the
have the
language
thing.
that the clerk produced. So you could make a motion to approve that with the, addition that outside groups will be subject to the same requirements in addition to tracking attendees or documenting attendees, whatever.
Okay. So if we add to this, outside groups will be required to follow the masking and social distancing. That means any group using the building, like planning commission or anybody. And tracking is required for all who enter the building.
And so that would mean not just the groups, that would mean people who come to the window
Yeah,
and
that
the
should
library
be-
patrons, I don't know if that's a big deal.
Yeah, library's a tough thing because of our privacy laws. And it gets a little touchy because the state has stopped the tracking.
Great.
You know, well, when everything went, so did the tracking.
Well, they still do contact tracing, they just don't require, like, when you go to a restaurant, you don't have to fill out the form, but they still do contact tracing, so they still will ask folks who are positive, they call them and ask who they were with.
Okay.
That's right,
Okay.
and so it has to just be kind of from people's memory, but nobody is keeping lists
No one's
anymore,
keeping
or
lists.
requiring lists.
Yeah, anyone who comes into the offices has to sign in. We have them sign, not our employees, but any
Mhm.
outside vendor or outside group, consultant, the health provider, they have to sign a log when they come in.
Well,
And
see,
you can
right,
just create a form if somebody's planning board is gonna come in here. It'd be a form, name, address, phone number, time in. Time out really doesn't matter, time in matters.
yeah.
They should have all the names for their minutes
Right.
anyways.
Yeah, I mean, cause when we didn't have to do the health surveys anymore, that's when, everything went out.
Right.
So what's the board's desire? I don't know, desire was all over, but what's the directive the board would like to
I
go?
think that, like,
Can we just make it so if you're in the building, you cannot socially distance, you're wearing a mask?
no,
Right.
there's no, they're doing both masking and social distancing.
But
Unless you're in a room by yourself.
Yeah, but this is like visitors should be. Not that if they think they can stay far enough away, I don't want them thinking they can take their mask off.
we can- They pay for the building, I'd say if either everybody does it or
Well, yeah,
it's the same. Either
exactly.
nobody takes a mask off or everybody wears it, or
If you're at your workplace, if you're at your desk, and there's nobody in the office.
I completely get it, but I'm saying these people, the taxpayers pay for the building, you're gonna tell them that the people work here to take it off, but even though it's all their money here, they can't.
They
They're not
can't,
near
if they're
anybody.
meeting with other people, and neither can the employee.
Right,
When
that's
they
how we've
walk
been
in, the
doing
employee
it,
goes on.
Right.
yeah. When you're meeting with the public or interacting with other people in the building, that you mask. But not that you sit there alone in your office with a mask on, cause I don't. So that's kind of how a lot of times that's been defined, is when interacting with the public or other people in the building, that the masks are required.
Jeff?
Not really comment, just the whole thing is unfortunate that we're even talking about this again.
Yep.
You
Yes,
know,
it is.
and quite frankly, I would put a lot of the onus on the people that do not want to get vaccinated. And it's unfortunate that those of us have gotten vaccinated that we have to go through this again. But, whatever we gotta do with the town property is fine with me.
Tom?
Inside, we're not gonna require the kids outside for the rest of day camp to be wearing masks unless.
They're not here.
Right, okay.
Seth was doing his own
Yeah,
thing
okay.
down there.
So, just so I have it straight, when people are entering the building, they have to be masked. when employees are working with other members of the public or other employees, they have to be masked. Outside groups who use the building have to be masked and they have to log in. Employees, while they're at their desk by themselves, if they can socially distance, if they're socially distanced, do not have to mask, but have to mask when they're meeting with other, as I said, with other employees who be outside. Is that the gist of it?
I
Okay.
think so. Okay, that's your motion?
Sure.
All right, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. It's unanimous. And it is too bad that we have to do this, but the next variant is much worse. And our vaccine will at least make us not get as sick, hopefully. Okay, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We are adjourned. Whatever